Hello, welcome to episode 110 of Daryl Show Your Work. So, continuing with the current theme of post-exploitation activity, I'm going to be touching on how to establish persistence on a Windows platform. All right, so before I jump any further into the subject matter, I'm going to give the usual disclaimer here. Where anytime I'm doing any sort of red teaming or offensive security activities, by saying this is for research, educational, and ethical purposes only. Any sort of malicious actions that may directly or indirectly come from someone watching my video, I don't take any responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so to give a high level overview of what it is I mean when I say persistence. Persistence generally consists of techniques that adversaries will use to maintain access to systems, regardless of things such as restarts, change credentials, and other sorts of interruptions that may terminate their access. All right, so I'm going to show a way in which we can use some automated modules to maintain access to a target that has been exploited. Excuse me. So as we can see, a couple of things that I've done prior to starting the video. I've already gotten our target host. All right, so they are on 10.3.29.25. All right, and I've already conducted a exploitation of the HFS, the HTTP file server, or the Rigetto version of the file server, all right, to get us a Meterpreter session. Again, didn't want to take us all the way through those steps again, since this is less focused on the exploitation itself and more on actions we take post exploitations and ways that and things that we can do after exploiting a target host. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do here, I'm going to do some more enumeration here, and let me just move this on out the way. All right, doesn't quite feel like moving today. Give me a moment here to scoop this bubble over. Some days it cooperates, other days it doesn't. There we go. All right, move you on over. All right, there we go. Okay, so we're going to do some enumeration here. So first, I'm going to say sysinfo to see what our operating system and my Meterpreter session is looking like. So I'm running a 32-bit Meterpreter session. All right, on. As a matter of fact, hold on, let me increase the font on this so that can be seen more clearly. That's one thing that I did not do prior to starting the video that I meant to. All right. Let's enhance the font. There we go. All right, so we can see that I'm using a 32-bit Meterpreter session, and with a 64-bit version of the Windows Server 2012 Version 2 operating system. So, as in my previous video, I need to migrate to a 64-bit session. So instead of going through the process tree and finding a process to migrate to that has just running 64-bit and has maybe the level of permissions that I'm looking to elevate to, I'm just going to automate this process through the archmigrate module. All right, so I'm going to background this Meterpreter session here just so I can have a session to reference when setting up that migration tool. And so I can say sessions just to verify that I have a working session here, which I do. And we can see it's just one, so it's going to have a session ID of 1. And I'm going to be using that session ID when I configure some of these modules that I'm going to be using. Okay, so then I'm going to actually provide the entire, instead of searching for it, I'm just going to write the whole tool directory out. So we're looking for a post exploitation module, all right, and one that is Windows based, all right, and then one that is revolves around session management. So I'm going to say manage. And then the name of the tool is archmigrate, which is short for architecture migration. Again, we want to migrate it from a 32-bit architecture to a 64-bit architecture version of Meterpreter. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's go to show options to see what I need to configure right here. All right, so it looks like the only thing that I really need to configure right here is the session. I need to give it a session, which is going to be session ID 1, and it's saying that it's going to target finding any instance for the svc host.exe process, which when I ran the process tree in a previous video, we can see there were several instances of that. So more than likely, that's the reason why it's targeting that, because it knows that more than likely that will be running and will have multiple instances of it running. And it's a 64-bit process. All right, so let's set session to 1. All right, and I am going to run this. And let's see if that. All right, we have success. So it looked like it successfully found svc host.exe process. So then let's jump back into my session here, which is session 1. So I'm going to say sessions 1. All right, so I'm back in Meterpreter, and let's run sysinfo again to make sure that I indeed now have a 64-bit version of Meterpreter running. And I do. All right, so we can see that right here. All right, so then the next thing I want to do is I want to get UID to see who I'm logged in as and get some inkling of the amount of permissions I may have. All right, so it looks like I'm logged in as an administrator, which is good. At least I know I have a certain amount of elevated permissions. But the goal is for me to get be able to get full system authority permissions. All right, and I mean that's going to help me to be able to maintain persistence here. All right, so in order to do that, I am going to background this process. Excuse me, Meterpreter, and I'm going to start looking for the actual uh, module, a post exploitation module that's going to help me help me achieve persistence here on this system. And we're going to test that out, and I'm going to explain exactly how it's going to work. All right, so this time I'm going to do Ctrl Z just to show multiple ways in which we can background Meterpreter. All right, so I hit Ctrl Z and I'm going to say Y for yes, and then hit enter. All right, so now let's do a search. So I'm going to say search. All right, and I want to specify the platform, which is Windows. And then I'm going to just say persistence. All right, so it looks like we have quite a few options here, but I want the option for persistence of service. All right, so which looks like it is module ID 11. All right, in the description it says Windows persistent service installer. So just to kind of give an idea of how this is going to work. So this is going to create a persistent service that's going to be paired with Meterpreter, and what's going to happen, and what's going to happen is I'm going to start up a listener in the form of multi-handler. All right, and I'm going to have that listening for a connection. All right, and it's going to grant me access to the target host. So the idea is once I run this post exploitation module, anytime that I set up multi-handler, it should be able to immediately establish a connection with the target host. So think of it as a sort of a beaconing from my computer to the target host. All right, so it's going to make more sense as I go through this. So right now I'm going to say use 11, since that's the tool that I'm going to be using. All right, and then see, I'm going to set the payload here. I'm going to set it to the 32-bit version payload because, like I said, sometimes it could be moody as far as whether it uses the 64-bit payload reverse TCP shell, or whether it uses the 32-bit. So I'm gonna just go with the 32-bit, and if that doesn't work, then I could try the 64-bit. With 32-bit, it seems to be more consistent. All right. So I said, let's go to show options. See what I have to set here. All right. So it's looking like, let me scroll up just a little bit more. So if I had some more information as far as the remote victim name, or the path of a certain executable, I would specify that here, and also I would be able to specify a particular service name, protocol name that I want to target. But I'm not doing that. I'm just going to use the default settings, except for I'm going to specify the session, of course, of what session I want to target here. All right, but these are some areas that you could fill in the blanks if you want to be a bit more specific about the protocol or the exe that you wanted to target in order to maintain the persistence. This is where you would enter in that information. All right, so the only thing that I'm going to configure here is the session. All right, and let's exploit that. All right, so we can see where it stuck the payload here in a temporary folder. So we can see that this is the name of the payload that it's put inside of our target system and is stored inside a temporary folder. So ideally, this wouldn't really be an easy place for an analyst or for an investigator to necessarily find an exe file, and the exe file doesn't have like an obvious malicious name. All right, so ideally, what attackers tend to do is they tend to store these type of executable files inside of temp folders, and what this executable is doing, it's operating in a way where it's sending out it's basically sending out a connection request, and anytime that I set up like a multi-handle or whatever, it's gonna receive the connection that this exe file is sending out, and every time I'm gonna be able to connect remotely to the system, regardless of whether they restart it, change a password, whatever. And you're gonna see what I mean here. All right, so to start, what it is that I'm saying, let's see, it should have actually created a a um, a connection. Let me just try that again. I should have another Meterpreter session. There we go. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened that time. All right, so for some reason I have 3 sessions here, which is fine. All right, so I want to show exactly. So I'm gonna say get UID. I'm gonna show you what I mean. All right, so you see now I have full system authority, and that's another thing that I was able to achieve here by conducting this exploit. All right, so this is what's going to allow me to be able to maintain persistence by having this much this much privilege in the system. All right, but one thing, I'm gonna exit out of a Meterpreter. By exit out, I'm gonna get rid of this Meterpreter system, and I'm also going to kill all the other sessions of Meterpreter to show that I don't need a Meterpreter session anymore to gain access back to the system, and it's going to start one for me every time I start multi-handler. All right, so let's exit. All right, so I'm going to say use multi-handler. All right, and I would just, as an attacker, I would just have to do this every time that I want to gain access to this system. I would just have to choose to use multi-handler, and then I'm also going to have to specify the payload, which is the reverse TCP. So I'm going to say set payload. Oops. Windows. All right, we're going to go again. We're going to go with that 32-bit version of it, so it matches the payload the payload version that I set within the the payload version that I set within the file, that the exe file that we had transferred over. All right, and we're gonna just some interpreter, and then reverse TCP. All right, so we're gonna set the payload to that. All right, and then let's see. Let's also show some options. Make sure that I get everything set there. All right, so it looks like I still need to set my L host, which is my IP address. So if you notice that I didn't seem to do any sort of discovery of my local IP address, which is fine because again, I'm gonna show you something I showed in the previous video that we could do just to automatically input my local host. So I can simply say set L host. All right, so I know that I'm running, since I'm using an internal on an internal network here. This is on my internal network. I know that I'm on Ethernet 1, so I can just simply put Ethernet 1, since no other IP address is since I'm the only IP address operating here, and it's going to automatically set my IP address because that's what's operating on Ethernet 1 on this machine. All right, so I should be all set there. So I'm going to exploit and let's see what happens. All right, hold on, did I kill all the rest of, let me make sure yeah, but hold on, before sessions are killed. No, I did. Okay, so before I exploit that, let's kill all my other, because if I do sessions, we should see 2 active sessions. Yeah, see, let's get rid of those. All right, so it'll be more clear as far as what I'm doing. So I'm gonna say sessions dash capital K, and this is going to kill both of these sessions. All right, and it came back that both are closed. So I'm gonna say sessions again just to verify, and no sessions are active. All right, now let's exploit this. All right, we can see multi-handler starting up. All right, let's see. That should be going. Not sure. There we go. Okay. Not sure why it took so long, but there it is. Okay, so we got, it actually gave us 2 Meterpreter sessions there. All right. So I'm going to show further proof that, and I could do sessions here. We can see that we're going to have sessions 4. It's going to verify that 4 and 5 are open. Hold on, sorry. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, no, that should have worked. Sessions. Let me see. Let's go back up. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not listing out those sessions, but I mean, I could just jump into one of those. Why is it asking for demanding a switch? Or I tell you what, I'm gonna just do a sessions L, and that should give me the list. Yeah, that is so weird. But let's just jump into sessions. So we know we have sessions 4 or 5. Let's do sessions 4. Huh. Oh, duh. I'm already in Meterpreter, so it already threw me in Meterpreter. That's why. Okay. My bad for not paying closer attention. Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna background this. I didn't realize, hadn't paid attention that it automatically threw me into Meterpreter. All right, so I'm gonna say sessions here. All right, so we can see we have sessions 4 and 5. All right, so I'm gonna show further proof of this. I'm gonna back all the way out of um, of um, of the Metasploit framework. Let's exit out. Let's see what on it. Okay, why? Okay, okay, there we go. Okay, so we're back into my out of Metasploit and back into my current active current directory. All right, so let's start back up Metasploit here. We're in user. We're going to back with the step. Start MSF console. All right, so I'm just going to jump into. I'm going to say use multi-handler. All right, then I'm going to set the payload to that 32-bit reverse TCP payload. Then I'm going to say reverse TCP. All right, now that's set, and then of course I have to set my L host again. And I'm going to set that to Ethernet 1, and it's going to automatically assign my IP address here. So let's see, I'm going to say show options, because it should show my IP address when I did that. Huh, wonder why it didn't do it that time. Well, let's try to run this and see what happens, because it should automatically show my my IP address when it does that. So, all right, so let's see. So I'm gonna say exploit. Yeah, see. Nope, no, it did. No, it would definitely. All right, it definitely worked. All right, so for some real reason, it just didn't show my IP address that time. So you can see I'm right into Meterpreter again. Okay, so it shows that basically with that by putting that file into the temp directory. All right, I'm able then to just again you saw that I killed all my previous Meterpreter sessions and set up multi-handler again and was able to get a connection. I came all the way out of the Metasploit framework, went back in, set up multi-handler with just the usual parameters as far as choosing my payload, setting up my IP address as a listening host, and then hit enter, and I'm able to get in. Once again, we have two, and these aren't previous sessions because we see session one, session two. So these are two brand new sessions. So we can see that even if the computer, if they were able to turn their computer off, turn it back on, restart it, change the password, as long as that file is in that temp directory and beaconing out to me, I can maintain persistence and continue to enter into this system as long as I see fit, or as long as I see fit, or as long as that file goes undiscovered. All right, so and then I'm gonna just exit out of here, but I'm not gonna exit. I'm gonna background it, and then just to show that we still have these sessions going. All right. So we can see that we have those sessions going on. We both and they're both uh, um, full system authority level of privileges within that target host. So again, this is a method in which, of course, it's not the only method that we can maintain a level of persistence post exploitation of a Windows platform, but it is definitely an effective one. So please like, share, and subscribe. Most important.